Here's the real truth about the legal profession, something you won't hear from a peer. Hi, and welcome to the Law Simplified, the world's largest independent online law school platform. I'm your instructor, Shaveen Bandaranaike. The majority of you following a law degree, or if you're a professional trying to pivot into the legal profession itself, would often gravitate towards the practice. If you're in England and Wales or a Commonwealth country, that might be an opportunity to become a solicitor, a barrister, or for that matter, an advocate or an attorney at law. There are some of you, like my fast track and masterclass students, who'd use the law degree that they're pursuing and would get through as an opportunity to enrich their existing profession. Because as oftentimes as I've told on this very YouTube channel, as well as the different platforms that the Law Simplified is disseminated on, a law degree is much more about how you think than what you know. As a result, legal professionals are often sought after by different industries, and you'd find barristers, solicitors, or lawyers in different aspects of society, on the boards of different industries or different verticals, and across the board in terms of government, policy making, and of course, lawmaking. That being said, most students that I've encountered over the past several years of teaching have not really had the most opportune moments to make a decision as to why exactly they're doing law. Now, there are a number of videos on this very YouTube channel that I've spoken about how important it is to take time out and make this decision for yourself before really getting into it. This might simply be because you might not necessarily enjoy the process of learning, and it might also be because sometimes you might not really enjoy the profession itself. But overall, throughout the past several years, with the experience that I've gained speaking with students, with professionals, with academics, and even lawmakers, I've understood that this profession will enable you to essentially try and incorporate one of four things. And the sad part about it is that you can't have everything, but depending on who you are and what your priorities are, you might be able to combine a few of them. So essentially, there are four criteria, or rather four achievements or four goals that you can think of when you're pursuing the law: power, money, fulfillment, or time. What do I mean by this? Essentially, if you are in pursuit of the law, it's a combination of two, but no more than these four elements. Some of you pursuing the law and wanting to get into the practice might be because you feel that it is a lucrative enterprise. You feel that there is money involved in it, and as a result, money would bring about aspects in your life that you always wanted to do. Perhaps law is not the end result, but it's a means to an end, so to speak. But what you might want to realize is that in the pursuit of that lucrative enterprise, you might not necessarily have fulfillment or time. Arguably, with money does come power as well. Conversely, if your objective is power, say for example, you want to go into public office, you want to go into a more people-centric enterprise, so to speak, policy making for that matter, that does, depending on the jurisdiction that you're operating in, does get you a set of powers, a set of authorities, a set of influences over that community, over where you stand. Arguably, depending on the part of the world that you're in, it does also attract a certain lucrative enterprise. But it's hard to consider it to provide you with the necessary time or the fulfillment there as well. If you're thinking of going into law, as many younger students of mine in terms of the fast track and masterclass programs have often thought of changing the world, so to speak. Very idealistic in that, and that's quite noble and wonderful at that age, taking it forward as well. This will provide you with fulfillment. It'll be very rewarding when you see at least the minute impact that you might have on a smaller community or even an individual that you encounter. It does also, to a great extent, provide you with some time. It does make it so that you can revolve your other activities and your interests around this. However, it's unlikely that such a pathway would enable you to have a lucrative career or power for that matter. There are a number of occasions that I have spoken to students who have wanted to get into refugee work, immigration matters, for example, and get into public interest litigation, for instance. They are very passionate about it, and there is a calling to it as well. And from the perspective of an individual, it is quite fulfilling and rewarding. However, over time, one needs to pay one's bills as well. And I know that's harsh the way I'm putting it out there, but in order to achieve a balance, it's very difficult to have one or the other. On the complete opposite spectrum of all of this is time. Oftentimes, in relation to the profession and in terms of a legal enterprise, it's very difficult to try and balance your time. For those of you who value time, it's often not just for yourself, but it might be for friends, colleagues, or family. You want to have an enriching period in your life, whether it be in your 30s, your 40s, or 50s, perhaps not putting a date on retirement, for instance. But overall, this too does not necessarily gravitate in terms of your enterprise to money or power. The reason that I wanted to get this across to those of you who are subscribers on this YouTube channel, as well as the different platforms in terms of my students on the online law school platform as well, is because it's very important for you to reflect on what you really want out of the profession, what you want out of this degree and later career. The last thing that you would want, and personally I have seen this from colleagues as much as students, is to get into a point of no return and then understand that perhaps you should have made certain decisions differently. That being said, until the next time that we meet, have fun, stay safe, and as always, obey the law.